Hey KU fans, welcome back to KU Sports Extra here in Stillwater, Oklahoma with your guy, Benton Smith.
That's me.
I'm Matt Tate. That's me. And KU wins it tonight 65-50. Watched the game. It was an 8 o'clock game. Deadline is kind of looming throughout the first half, throughout the second half. So sometimes you don't really digest all of this.
Right, because you're looking at your computer, you're trying to tweet, you're trying to write, doing all of these things the best you can.
For sure. What I'm saying this for is that I don't know that even until just now did I realize they held Oklahoma State to 50 points.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what KU does.
For sure.
They play on the road and they don't let you score points.
Yeah.
They've been really good in Big 12 play. 4-0 now in road venues. Obviously, the only Big 12 loss is to Baylor at home, but they've been great on the road because of their defense. And, I mean, tonight, Oklahoma State, I think 2 for 18 on three-pointers.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a very big part of what they're doing. This is a team that struggled this year, but, Marcus Garrett, when him and Christian Brown were sitting in these seats earlier talking about how they got out of here with such an easy win, I mean, mention that defense, right? They just they thought that was a real source of what Oklahoma State could do. So that was a focus. And he said, yeah, I know we have a reputation of giving up a lot of threes. They only gave up 18.
Right.
And did a pretty solid job. Bill Self really liked the way the defense played, especially when Udoka was on the court.
Of course. Yeah, that helps, right?
Yeah, that giant who can move his feet so well and, show on ball screens and then get back to the paint and cover that area up. Pretty helpful.
It helps. Yeah, it wasn't his best night, really, on either end, but he did have 5 blocks. He's got 13, I think, for the last 3 games combined now. And really, I think Self mentioned this, their scouting report, their switches, their just attention to detail defensively until the last 5 minutes when the game was basically over is what he said. He was thrilled with that, and it's not easy to get a compliment out of that guy.
Especially about defense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for him to say that with such a glowing sort of review of his team's defense, they only had 7 guys again for the second game in a row, and you can't last that way. You can't play a full season that way. But I think there's something to be said for just tightening it up right now, and you got 5 starters, and then you have 2 bench guys, and everybody's role is so much more magnified for one, but also clearly defined when you're that shorthanded. And I think this team over the last 2 games against Tennessee and against Oklahoma State tonight really showed that it was a mentality of just find a way, and they did find a way in both games. And a big part of finding a way tonight was knocking down 3-point shots. They hit 11. They did attempt 33.
Yeah. A lot of those they were invited to take.
Yeah.
I mean, and that was part of Oklahoma State's strategy.
Their zone defense and just, hey, let's see what you got. And look,
smother,
11's a good number for KU.
Oh, yeah,
11 makes you'd love it to be 11 of 20 or whatever.
Right.
But still, 33%, it's not terrible. I mean, it's not great, it's not terrible. But 11 threes, the number is the key, I think. And they came from multiple places. Christian Brown making his first start as a Jayhawk, phenomenal. I mean, he hit 4 of them, and he just looks so comfortable. He just looks like that guy you guys heard about all summer. The guy that plays with relentless passion, plays with fire, is fearless. I mean, you've seen it in stretches during that first third of the season, but I think here the last 5 or 6 games, maybe 7 or 8, he's really started to just each game turn it up a notch. Now he's in the starting lineup. Benton asked himself after the game, are you going to stick with that? Are you going to stay with the 4 guards when David McCormick's back from suspension? Pretty much said yes.
Yeah. I mean, he said that's who we are, and there's really no reason to change it.
Right.
He hasn't, even when he was starting McCormick, he would admit, obviously we play better when we have 4 guards. I mean, he wasn't blind to that fact. And, now McCormick's been out of the lineup a couple games, and this was an impressive road win considering the circumstances, I think.
Yeah.
Short turnaround, and you're coming here with, like you mentioned, just 7 guys that you can really play. You don't have any backup to Udoka, not a true big man.
Not at all.
So, I mean, why not roll this and add a quality backup center that a lot of teams would start at center?
That's exactly right. Now, when McCormick's back, he has served his 2-game suspension. He slides right into that backup role behind Udoka. Udoka's foul trouble is not as magnified then. Udoka's fatigue is not as magnified then, and he can kind of get back to playing that relentless style that he's played with most of the year, having an All-American season. So what a luxury to kind of grind their way through this last couple of games. A little bit more about Brown, though. I mean, I think that his confidence is what everybody keeps talking about. I mean, he talks about it. His teammates talk about it. Bill Self talks about it. It really shows. I mean, this is a guy who's just not afraid right now. He steps into shots when they're there. He pulls the trigger. He believes that, hey, I'm a part of this team. It's not, hey, I'm a new guy, or hey, I'm a freshman. It's, I'm a part of this team, and this team needs me to do what I can do. And that's helped him all the way back to the Villanova game. And that's where it really, I think, started. And again, just a little bit more each time, and he looks really comfortable in that role. More important than that, I think Self said this tonight, Isaiah Moss looks really comfortable in that bench role. The hired gunner, come in and shoot three-pointers off the bench, and tonight they combined for 29 points. You'll take that every time. Just a really quality sort of pieced together victory for Kansas. 17-3 now, 6-1 in the Big 12. Again, this was an Oklahoma State team that had Baylor on the ropes a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, at halftime.
Right. So this is by no means a game that was a gimme or anything. They're 0-7 now in league play, but they're not an 0-7 team. I mean, you talk to most people that cover this conference, they have enough talent to have a couple of wins, and it just seems like a matter of time. That's what was dangerous about tonight. You talked about the short turnaround. You talked about KU being shorthanded. Well, it just seems like Oklahoma State's due to win a game, and this one could have been it. And for a while, it looked like it might be. I mean, KU had a 24-7 lead that all but evaporated. And then Marcus Garrett settled everything down. Christian Brown did what he does. And KU knocked him out in the second half with Devon Dotson on the bench because of foul trouble.
That was the crazy part.
Yeah. So this team is just continuing to show new ways they can win, continuing to rely on defense, and continuing to show that if they ever put it all together, they're going to be as tough of an out as anybody in the country. Any final thoughts?
I just really like what Brown brings offensively. He's not just a three-point shooter.
Right, not at all.
He's really assertive and getting to the paint. And he loves, using a little pump fake out on the three-point line and using that to attack.
Right.
And, I mean, obviously, everyone knows by now what Devon Dotson can do off the bounce, what Marcus Garrett can do, just like he's relentless in getting to the paint. Now you have a third guy that can do that. And, I mean, it makes the offense work that much better because you have three guys who can get to the paint, and obviously the 7-footer Udoka who can dominate the paint if you leave him single covered. But Oklahoma State took him away with the zone defense.
Yep.
Didn't matter because the rest of the guys around him were more than happy to shoot those open
Sure,
three-pointers.
right. Yeah, K-State doubled him, took him away. Christian Brown hit 6 against them.
Yep.
Let's find out Saturday what Texas Tech's going to do to take Udoka away and how how KU's going to counter it. I mean, that's what it's coming down to.
Yeah,
There's a lot of strategy involved with this team right now, but they got a Hall of Famer calling the shots, and I'm sure they'll take that up against pretty much anyone. For Ben Smith, I'm Matt Tate. KU wins at 65-50 here in Stillwater, and we'll see you Saturday back at Allen Fieldhouse when Texas Tech and Chris Beard come to town. Thanks for checking out KU Sports Extra.